All right, and we are live. Okay, and we are live. Let me fix this. Okay, say Jerome. We're going to be discussing about today about how an opinion column calls bloodthirsty New York Times employee to turn against one another. What the fuck is happening? What is happening? But according to, let me just make this more looking professional. A picture, a giant media organization, but everyone is at home spending their time on Zoom and Twitter, afraid to go outside because of COVID, angry about the Floyd killing, and then the cotton up it drops a bomb into the virtual newsroom. So this column guy, I think his name is Steve Cracker, is a veteran journalist and media critic who has worked at CNN, Fox News, NBC, and The Blaze. In this except from his new book, Uncover How the Media Got Cozy with Power, Abandoned Its Principles, and Lost the People. He reviews how New York Times employee went crazy after up up at section ran a column by Senator Tom Cotton on May 25th. This is my podcast, my own version of podcast. On May 25th, 2020, George Floyd was killed while in custody by Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, who was later convicted of murder. The shocking video of Floyd, who was black, actually, no one is, anyway, and Chauvin, who is white, came into the public consciousness as the COVID pandemic was heating up. It was, was heating up. Many people had barely left their house in 2 months because they were afraid of the COVID. What came next was the wave of outrage and protest. Social justice marches were all over America, as were some instances of violence, looting, and arson. Or does the United States? In the United States, there will be violence every other day, because that's their right to protest, their right to bear arms, and to the right to kill someone. That's the United States. If you want to go there, it's your choice. It was a particular perilous time in the country's one that also happened to be mere 5 months before a presidential election that could determine whether the country would have 4 more years of Donald Trump. I am not voting. We are not allowed to vote for the U.S. We are a U.S. citizen, and we are a U.S. territory, but we are still not allowed to vote for the president of the USA. But if we were given the opportunity to vote, I will not vote for Donald Trump because I'm not a Republican nor Democrat or Independent. I just don't believe uh, in that guy. Or maybe Biden. Maybe I will not just vote. This content is important because the context is always important, also also because in some level it helps explain the bizarre, extremely concerning actions that were to come uh, bizarre, concerning actions were to come from a journalistic perspective. Senator Tom Compton wrote an opinion column that ignited a firestorm within the New York Times newsroom. So this Senator Tom Cotton wrote his opinion on the New York Times in the column that caused a lot of people to be upset. In this cultural firestorm came an opinion column in the New York Times by Senator Tom Cotton of Republican Arkansas, originally headline "Send in the Troops," and shortly after publication changed to Tom Cotton sending the troops. In it, Cotton noted the revolting moral equivalence of roaders and looters to peaceful, law-abiding protesters, a majority who seek to protest peacefully shouldn't be confused with bandits or of miscreants, while concluding one thing above all else will restore order to our streets. An overwhelming show of force to disperse, detain, and ultimately deter lawbreakers. I find the column to be mostly uncompelling and fairly obvious. Is it any surprise that Tom Cotton would write a column like this? Many of the most vocal New York Times employees were outraged. Dozens of staffers and friends of the paper appeared a screenshot of headline while tweeting running this puts black New York Times staff in anger. The next day, New York Times opinion editor James Bennett responded on Twitter, Times opinion owes it is to our readers to show them counter arguments, particularly those made by people in position to set policy. We understand that many readers find Senator Cotton's argument painful, even dangerous. We believe that is one reason it requires public scrutiny and debate. So what the fuck is going on? I don't understand. Tom Cotton sending the troops? Why sending the troops? The nation must restore order, and the military stands ready. Huh? What the fuck is going on in the United States? Inside the New York Times, it was even more chaotic and hysterical after the publication of the column. The United States people are fucked up. Fucked up. Some are good, some are fucked up. column as those watching us. As John McCrae, now of the New York Magazine, was an opinion staffer of the New York Times at the time the cartoon up and ran. He told me it was a day he will never forget. I absolutely love working at the New York Times, he told me, but that was just the weirdest day in the almost 5 years I've worked here. He told me everything snowballed really quickly, largely organized on Slack, the chat too. Many in the media used to dish with colleagues while theoretically working. Protests sparked across the country in 2020 over George Floyd death. Who will not protest? A black guy was killed in the hands of a white fucker. I think that's the guy she Floyd says he cannot breathe. He said, I cannot breathe. I can breathe. I can breathe. But that motherfucker keep putting pressure on his body. That's why he's dead. That cocksucker officer. There was like the giant communal Slack chat for the whole company that became sort of the digital gallows they told me. And all these angry backbiting staffers were gathering there and demanding the head roll, and the most bloodthirsty of the employees were these sort of weird tech and audio staffers, and then a handful of people who wrote for like the arts and leisure section and the style section and the magazine, which in other words, was no one who was actually out covering any of the protests or the riots or the politics. It was just sort of like a bunch of Twitter brain crazies kind of running wild on Slack, and the leadership was so horrified. Um, Politics, it was like a bunch of Twitter brain crazy, like a running wild Slack, and the leadership was so horrified that was so happening that they just completely lost their nerve. Picture a giant media organization, but everyone is at home spending their time on Zoom and Twitter, afraid to go outside because of COVID, angry about a floor killing, and then the cartoon up Ed drops a bomb into the virtual newsroom. So there are a lot of people that are angry for the comments that senator did. So I don't know this. So that's it. That's the Tom Cotton sending the troops. All right.